Okay, so here is an example of our HVAC questions sheet. So we're going to come into the home, we're going to build rapport, and we're going to establish authority. And the customer's generally going to ask us to take us to the furnace or the air conditioner or say, oh, can you please show me your thermostat quick? So here's our thermostat, right? Okay. Now we're going to go through and ask these questions to the homeowner. From the first time you've ever used our company to right now, have we been giving you 5 out of 5-star service? The reason we ask that question is maybe we were out there last year or 3 years ago and we screwed up, or they think we overcharged them for something, whatever the case may be. We need to at least get this on our radar, because if they have an objection about something, we want to know about this right now, okay? Then, assuming they say, yeah, you've been giving us 5 out of 5 stars, we say, okay, and then if we continue to provide 5 out of 5-star service, will you use our company for life? So we want them to proclaim to the world that they're going to use our company for life. Because again, over at the closing table, if they say, no, I want to give a couple other prices, we can look at them with a very confused look on our face and say, but I thought you said you wanted to do business with us for life. And it's going to be very hard for them to go back on that. I will tell you, especially in HVAC, it says from the time you've ever used our company to right now, have we been giving you a 5 out of 5-star service? Some people will say no because you bumped us, like we rescheduled them. We do that a lot on HVAC tune-ups. And my response to that would be, Mrs. Jones, if I were able to put a note on your file so, the office understands that this creates a lot of problems for you by rescheduling your appointments, would that be something you'd like me to do? Generally, they'll say yes. And then you go to the next question. Okay, if I go ahead and do that and we continue to provide you 5 out of 5-star service, will you use our company for life? They'll probably say yes. So that's how you get by that. That's probably the number one objection you'll get up there. What are your expectations from today's call? Now, this might sound weird, especially in HVAC tune-ups. People don't understand why you're at their home. So when you're a technician and you ask this question, why do you want to tune up today? People will say things like, oh, because I'm a club member. Or, oh, you had a special, like a $49 tune-up special or something like that. Well, that's not why we're at their house, right? So every time we go to somebody's house, it has to come down to these things: safety, reliability, or energy efficiency. That's what it should come down to. They don't want you to do a tune-up on their system. They don't want it to break down. That's reliability. They don't want you to do a tune-up on their system. They want to make sure it's energy efficient. They don't want to do a tune-up on their furnace. They want to make sure it's safe. They want it safe, reliable, and energy efficient. And so we want the customer to say those things to them. So it might go something like this. So why do you want a tune-up done, Mrs. Jones? Well, I'm a club member and you come out every year. Oh, yes, and I appreciate you being a club member, but why do you want a tune-up done? Well, I don't know, I get it done every year. Okay, well, Mrs. Jones, a lot of times people want us to do a tune-up because they want to make sure their system doesn't break down. Is that something you want? Oh, yeah, I definitely don't want it to break down. Oh, okay, so reliability is important to you. What about safety? Are you concerned about safety? No, not too much. Okay, well, what about the air you're breathing? Do you want to make sure that's safe? Oh, well, yeah, I guess. Okay, so safety is important to you. Oh, yeah, I guess it is. So then we circle safety. What about energy efficiency? Is that important to you? And they'll say, well, I guess I don't want to pay too much in energy bills. Oh, okay. So if there was a way to make sure your system was as energy efficient as possible, would you like me to go ahead and let you know about that? Oh, sure, great. And then we circle energy efficiency. Again, now all the way at the end of the closing table, When we propose selling like a TRD and they don't want to do it, we can literally look at them again, look very confused and say, Mrs. Jones, I know you don't want to do a TRD, but you told me when we got here that you wanted your system safe, reliable, and energy efficient. There is nothing more I can do, Mrs. Jones, to make your system safe, reliable, or energy efficient than a TRD. You have high static pressure, and with high static pressure, your system is not safe, it's definitely not reliable, and it for sure is not energy efficient. So are you sure? Should we go ahead and run that TRD and ask for the sale again? But again, you have to ask these questions up front. If you don't ask them up front, you can't use them at the end. Then we go on. Have you ever had your system serviced before? It's good to know. Have we been out there and fixed it before? Has somebody else fixed it? Has a neighbor or a cousin or a friend worked on this system? Good information to know. How long have you lived in the home? I'd like to know. If the system is 5 years old and they've lived there for 7 years, we know this customer has replaced their system before, don't we? Good information to know. And if they've replaced their system before, we know they have a dollar amount stuck in their head of how much it should cost. What is the age of your system? Again, we're trying to find out how old that system is. How long do you plan on living in the home? That's a great question to ask. Because if they're like, oh, we're going to sell in the next couple of years, good information to know. If they something like, we're going to die in this house, or this is our forever home, very good information to know. What do you keep your thermostat set in the summer? They'll give you a number. Where do you keep it set in the winter? They'll give you a number. Do those temperatures make you feel comfortable for you? See, it's funny, but some people set their thermostats at a level to keep their energy bills down, but it is not the desired temperature. So we need to know that information, and this is how we get it out of them. How do you feel about your utility bills? If they say they're high, good, we'll look into that. Are there any hot or cold spots in your home? And yes, my HVAC technicians, we can fix that, or we can at least make that better. Are you comfortable with the humidity all year round? Is it too dry in the winter or too humid in the summer? Who in the home suffers from allergies, asthma, or hay fever, or sinus problems? Keep in mind I put who in the home suffers from allergies. I didn't ask, does anybody in the house suffer from allergies, hay fever, or sinus problems? And then how severe are they? Have you ever had your ducts cleaned before? We ask that because we hate to propose a duct cleaning if they supposedly just had it done, especially if it was with your company. If so, how long ago? Have you had any power surges or lights flickering in your house? Maybe like when your air conditioner turns on. That's a surge protection question. And then what kind of scheduled service do you have in place for your system? That's a club membership question. And when you ask that question and they say nothing, you'll look really confused, like that's really odd. Like that's surprising that you don't have anything for your system. Okay, so we ask all these questions at the thermostat, and we ask everyone. We don't skip any of them, and we write the answers down. Don't just say them and not write the answers, because again, you lose that professionalism and you lose that trustworthiness by not writing the answers down. Okay, then we move out to the furnace and or air conditioner. What's going on, if anything? If you're there for a repair call, ask them why, what's not working with it. If it's a maintenance call, ask them, is there anything going on with it? Any weird banging or weird noises going on? If they tell you what's wrong, ask them, when did it happen? And if it's a repair call, this is probably the most important question right here. When were you looking at completing the work? I don't care, technicians, if it is negative 30 degrees in their basement and their furnace is out. You ask them this question, when were you looking at completing the work? And the answer should always be today. If the answer is not today, we need to get them to say today. An example is, oh, I want you to give me a quote on installing a humidifier. Okay, when would you like that taken care of? Oh, I don't know, maybe, within the next couple weeks. So they didn't say today, so I have to get them to say today. So I'll say something like, oh, I know you want, a new humidifier installed. My company actually allows me enough time to get started with the projects today, so assuming we can agree on a price, could I start it today? And they'll probably say yes, because they don't want to take another day off of work. Well, now you wrote today. So now when we get to the closing table, and the customer says something like, oh, well, we're just getting prices right now, so we'll give you a call. I can look at them very confused and say, but Mrs. Jones, I thought you said you want it done today. Oh, yeah, we did, but it's just a lot more money than we thought it was. Ah, see, they do want it done today. It's not that they have to talk to their spouse, it's that the money is more than they thought. So we just blew through a smoke screen. But if you don't ask these questions up front, you can't blow through the smoke screen. You have to ask these questions, all of these questions, every single time. We will get to these questions in a minute, so don't worry about those right now. But this is for the thermostat questions for an HVAC service technician.